Hello, everybody. Here I am showing up to my shift at the Amberlynn Reid factory for the low introductory price sale of absolutely everything. You heard it here last. No, it's actually a low price sale of absolutely nothing. Okay, in today's video, we're taking a look at Amber's smug and outrageous response to her aunt, exposing her for the second time, and Hans Christian Pookie Reid, my favorite YouTuber, has decided to send some DMs, some text messages to her aunt, and her aunt is exposing the message on her community page. Pookie, can I call you Hans Christian Amberlynn? I really hope this is everything that you ever wanted. So this could have been avoided by you not putting out certain things into the universe. And now they're coming back to you. So it's a wonderful time to be alive. If you could not tell already by this intro, everything I'm saying is just for entertainment purposes only. Please don't take anything I say seriously. I'm sharing my own opinions, not facts. Some publicly accessible information first made public by public figures. Please don't go to these people's channels and leave mean-spirited, negative, disparaging comments. Entertainment purposes only. Okay, Amber's aunt posted this text that Amber sent her on her community page and wrote waiting. Okay, that was her response, waiting. So Amber texts her aunt and says, this is Amber talking. What you are doing is vile, but you know that already. I will have a call with you on my live stream. I'm sorry. I will have a call with you on my live stream. I am confident in my truth and what I have to say. Ready when you are, says her aunt. I have nothing but truth and facts. Okay, so first of all, I know that a lot of people don't think that the aunt should be speaking out. I think that if you're continuously getting mistreated by somebody and this person has enough audacity, the person would be Amber, to make money on it, I say, say what you want. Here's the thing. The most amount of power you're ever going to get is by not making a move. The best way to win anything is not to play, and do not make that move. Silence is power. You're looking for power? That's silence. That's number one thing I could advise anyone. No one will take this advice. But bottom line in this situation is Amberlynn, Hans Christian Pookie Reid, wants to have the last word in. So because you are so obsessed with having the last word in, you always telling yourself. One of the things about Hans Christian Pookie Reid is that she always tells on herself. I will have a call with you on my live stream. I'm confident in my truth and what I have to say. Okay. First of all, this is the same woman that's accusing others of being narcissistic, right? Okay. You see how she can't even say, I'm confident in what happened. I know what happened. You're not telling the truth to people. We're going to be talking about what actually happened. She's saying, I'm confident in my truth and what I have to say. There you go. There is her exposing herself. Okay. So she's not going to talk to anybody about what actually happened. She blackmailed her aunt. She lied to her aunt. She put her aunt's whole future really like in a very bad situation. She's just going to talk about what she believes to be true, not the actual truth. I'm confident in my truth, also known as what I believe to be true, not what actually is. There you go. There's her exposing herself. Really, Amber always exposes herself. This is my opinion, and obviously people don't need to take my advice or anything like that, but this is what I think. I think the biggest mistake that her aunt could make is to go on Amber's channel. You won't have control. You won't pick what's going on, and she'll take full control of you. Okay? Do not go on her live stream. Do it through Jordy. Go do an interview with anybody else. Put it on your own channel. If you don't want to monetize it, don't monetize it, because the aunt was like, I could have made a lot of money on this. I'm not making money on this. Go say your story on your channel. Biggest advice I can give. Don't let Amber make the money on this. Amber, let me tell you something. My opinion, but I'm 100 on this, is that Amber is inviting her aunt to have an argument, a discussion, a drama with her on Amber's channel, on Amber's live stream, so Amber could make the money. So my advice, don't let Amber continuously profit from being terrible to people, those people speaking out. That's what's happening. Amber's continuously treating people badly. The people come out and speak out against her, and then she plays the victim and says, can you believe this is my mom's sister? Can you believe this is my mom's sister? I need a blankie. Amber, please, we all need to know which blankie's going to be your next one. Okay, the point is Amber's inviting her on her live stream so that she could have full control. The aunt won't pick the questions. The aunt won't have any, like I'm telling you, do not go. The biggest mistake anybody could ever make is go on Amber's platform. She'll be in full control. She'll make the money and she will twist the narrative to her liking. Best option, go on your own channel or go talk to a reaction channel. Those are my thoughts and opinions. And also, I believe that the aunt, in my opinion, should definitely release every single text message with Amber on her own channel and expose Amber. Some things that I forgot to say that are super important. One of the things that I forgot to say was Amber, in her live stream, responding to her aunt, said, I am not the type of person, and when have I ever come publicly live myself or just come on my channel, my platform, and said things that are like, personal or spill tea about another person unless they were doing it to me first. My dear, you are definitely that type of person. You came on your channel and for some unknown reason a few years ago made a video saying how she proposed when you were in a relationship with ex-wifey, right? Well, she wasn't your ex then. You were in a monogamous, supposedly, relationship with wifey, and you decided to tell everyone an embarrassing private story from Beck how they proposed, right? The issue is, it wasn't really an embarrassing story, in my opinion, but you knew that it would embarrass Beck. Why did you spill their tea out of nowhere? They weren't talking about you. They weren't saying anything bad about you. And out of nowhere, you decided to tell personal information. Also, this is just like a big example, but if you look throughout her YouTube channel, all the years, she would constantly give out private information of Destiny's mom, of Beck's family. All the time, she doxed the urologist's office. She has continuously come out and said things that were unwarranted, meaning that obviously Beck wasn't saying anything about her, wasn't spilling any tea on her at that time, and Amber decided to give private personal information. I know she's going to say, but I was in the middle of that proposal story too. But you knew it was a private thing. Look, bottom line is, to answer her lie, girl, you a lie. 100% Amberlynn Reid, Hans Christian Pookie Reid, has come on the internet and spilled other people's information without being provoked to. That's the point. Okay. She then says that, it's something that she doesn't like to do. She's not one of these people that likes to come and show receipts and text messages and proof. She literally said that in a live stream titled Let's Talk About the Drama, where she shows proof with text messages that she literally, as Hans Christian Pookie Reid would say, texted her aunt. Let me get this straight. Amber actually comes on the internet and says, I don't want to show proof. I don't want to show receipts because I'm not the type of person to do that. She has shown messages from her and Beck from 2020. She's shown DMs before. She's shown messages between her, Eric, and Ricky about FBI Frank. The point is, you're exactly that type of person. When you can prove something, you will. So the point, by the way, she never actually does. In her mind, when she thinks she can. Okay, so the answer to this question is, of course you are this type of person. Girl, you alive. One more point that I forgot to make. Remember how Amber said that it was a very big deal that her mom had November 1st as her day of getting sober, and her aunt dared to get married on the anniversary of her mother getting sober, November 1st. Okay. Let's not forget, and I totally did when I was recording this, that Amber forgot her ex-girlfriend's birthday. Amber was living with wifey and forgot her birthday. This isn't an opinion. It's what Amber said in one of her videos when she was with wifey. She said, I forgot my girlfriend's birthday. I'm sorry, but in my opinion, forgetting someone's birthday is way, like someone that you live with, and they even had wifey's birthday circled on the calendar. Yeah, doing that, Amber, to the person that drove you around everywhere, ex-wifey, was terrible and inappropriate and showed exactly who you are and the type of person that you are versus getting married on the day that somebody else got sober. Here's the thing. It's a big deal when you get sober, and you could celebrate it as a rebirth, and I've said this already before in my other video, but I think forgetting someone's birthday, your partner's birthday, is worse than getting married on somebody's soberversity. By the way, why can't you just celebrate both? Both. One more point, and this is the best. Amber clearly blatantly lied, and I knew about it, but I just forgot to say it because I had so much to say because she did a 2-hour live stream and my video was on that. So here's something very important. Amber says the reason that she didn't go to her aunt's wedding, which was, listen, on November 1st, is because that was around the time that she had sprained her ankle, which is a blatant lie. Go and look it up. I'll try to throw up some screenshots. She sprained her ankle in August of 22. Even if you give her 2 months to heal, it would be the majority of August. It would fine, 3 months, whatever, 2.5 months. This is a math channel. August, September, October. By November, you could have taken a plane. Just say that you didn't want to go to her wedding. We could understand that. Constant pathological deceiver. If you sprained your ankle in August, why couldn't you go to the wedding in November? I mean, that's 2.5 months to heal. Let's talk about Amber's response to her aunt. Here's what stood out to me the most. So if you watched my video and if you watched Jordy's live stream with the second interview with the aunt pretty much said that this is really important. Listen. Amber's grandma supposedly, allegedly, okay, told the aunt that she didn't like the way that Amber spoke to her, Amber's mom. So Amber speaks badly to Amber's mom. That's what the grandma thought and told that to the aunt. Amber starts talking about her aunt in the response to the aunt's live stream majority, the second one. And in her response, she never actually addresses that, but says this. This is the most important thing of the night. My grandma is sick. She remembers facts wrong. She ain't remember Kermit wrong. Do you understand why she said that? Because she's trying to drop a subtle, not so rudimentary subtle manipulation hint. Grandma doesn't remember facts. She doesn't know what's actually happening. Everything Aunt Tammy said isn't true because my grandma doesn't remember facts. Look, she's been manipulating people for a long time. I don't care that some people fall for it. I don't care that other people don't fall for it. It doesn't matter to me what you think about her manipulation styles, techniques, if people fall for it. I am telling you right now that if you watch her videos, she is one of the most obvious manipulators I've ever seen. She doesn't want to address. How come you didn't address it, Pookie? Were you looking for your blankie? You love this voice, yes. She doesn't address the big thing that her aunt said, that grandma said, that Amber was talking to her mom badly. Really, she doesn't like to address things that she knows are true. So she just drops a subtle hint. Remember, grandma doesn't know facts, aka making you, any person who's listening to that, in my opinion, would be like, okay, well, grandma's an elderly sick woman. Maybe she didn't know what was going on. She thinks that any person would be thinking that after she said that. Amber, your rudimentary manipulation tactics do not work on me. Why do you think Amber has to say, I don't watch her, I don't watch her? She knows every single thing I've ever said. How scary is that? She knows every single thing I've ever said about her, but I don't watch her. Get a blankie. Bottom line, I see what you're doing. Just like throughout this live stream and throughout the other one, she needs to answer her audience or say this about super chats. What? I don't understand. I'm not understanding what you're saying. I'm confused. I don't understand what you're saying. And anytime she really doesn't want to answer anything, she shows you her cat. Oh, come here, Romeo. Oh, wow, Wasabi and Romeo, they're cuddling so much. Oh, it just heals me. Always listen. She always does the cat bit. She always brings up her cats when it's a difficult moment in the live stream she doesn't want to answer. This is a manipulation tactic. I see right through you. Amber's entire live stream is just unhinged. She acts smug and unhinged. If this is who you are, even when people are exposing you, I really believe you need to be in therapy 24/7. She keeps saying, I'm not lying about my mom. I'm just saying what my mom told me. Now that you know that your mom has told you lies because her sister, your aunt, has exposed that your mom has been a liar for a while and told you lies, I think it's the correct answer to apologize and say, I'm sorry I spread a false narrative. I was believing the lies that my mom told me. This is about certain things that her mother did or didn't do. Yeah, Amber, you really think your mom didn't do certain things? Her aunt said that Amber jeopardized her mom's sobriety, right? And what Amber says is so outrageous. She says that she told her mother, if your sobriety is ever jeopardized, I won't be here. I'll leave you. Very nice. For your free chauffeur. Like, that's the type of person you are. You're going to completely abandon your mother if she ever, God forbid, just like loses her sobriety. You are the number one reason that she's going to lose her sobriety, because all you do is stress her with your lies and manipulation. When Amber was getting Ozempic, she could have gotten it from the doctor's office, or like she had said, a Medi-Spa, or whatever, anywhere. But she forced her mom to do it. It doesn't matter that your mom said, oh, I'm not affected. You knew what you were doing. It's because Amber wants everything done for her. Amber, do you know how we all say that? That's because we all see that on your channel. One of the most ridiculous and weird parts of her live stream is her excuse as to why she decided to blackmail her aunt. When Amber was in her mid
Nurse, clear my schedule.
MID, right, okay, mid-20s, Amberlynn Reid decided to blackmail her aunt and say, I wonder what your husband would think of you cheating. She did that because she wanted mommy to come back into, auntie's house. Okay, so here's the thing. Amber says that the reason that she basically blackmailed her aunt is because she was a 20-year-old child, which is super weird because at 20 years old, you're an adult, pretty much. You're not even a teenager anymore. Okay. She says that she had no idea that her aunt was in a bad relationship. And the reason why Amber has gotten so much criticism on this is because how are you going to go and blackmail a person, a woman especially? It's so dangerous in a bad relationship, and be like, I'm going to tell your husband if you don't let my mommy back in here. Mommy should have gotten a job, yes, and should have gotten herself better, yes. It was not your aunt's responsibility to house you or your mother, and she still let you in. By the way, how come you never talk about Grammy? How come you never talk about Granny, huh? Your grandma kicked you out. I want to know why. This is the same woman that's been telling your Aunt Tammy, allegedly, supposedly, according to Aunt Tammy, that you speak to mommy wrong. Now it's all out in the open. Amber, I really hope you're happy with this, Jerry Springer style family drama, August 2025. Is it everything that you thought it would be when you opened the door for this? You did. All my commenters are right. You opened the door for this when you continued to trash your family and bring personal private things to the internet and monetize it and buy Destiny's presents with it. I hope it's everything you always thought it would be. Okay, so Amber says that she had no idea that her Aunt Tammy was in this terrible relationship. It's clearly a lie. Her aunt said that she told her. Everybody knew. They knew what was going on. You put her in jeopardy over your mother. Care about the woman in the bad relationship that could end for her at any moment, okay? And not just the relationship ending. So I find it wild. Amber's excuse, it's unhinged. This is her response. Well, I had a friend who had a 20-year-old child, and everybody around my friend called that person a child. But how come when Amberlynn was 20 years old? Stop referring to yourself in third person. It shows everything we need to know about you. But when Amberlynn was a 20-year-old, she wasn't a child. We need to decide if a 20-year-old is a child or not. We have a 20-year-old is not a teenager. It's you're definitely a legal adult in the United States of America. At 18, you can vote. It's just as unbelievable to me. Who is this we need to decide if at 20 years old, you're an adult? 100% at 20 years old, you're an adult. You can make your own decisions, Pookie. Yes, you can even get a new blanket whenever the truth becomes too sad. Oh. Bottom line is, I don't know who this we are. It's very confusing and odd and unusual. But apparently, this whole thing about like, we need to decide. We did decide. Past experience with some friend who said that her child was a child at 20. I don't care. Sometimes, listen, this is semantics manipulation by Hans Christian Pookie Reid. Sometimes parents, this happens often, call their grown children their children because they are their children. They don't mean that they are immature kids. Bottom line is, you blackmailed her because that is your character. You put her in danger because that is your character. She keeps saying, I don't care that my aunt cheated on this man. I don't care, like she was cheating. I'm not going to celebrate pretty much like, the November 1st. I don't care that this was the date that you met the guy that you were cheating with. Amber, you cheated the majority of your ex-partners. You cheated on Tommy with Valentine. You cheated on the majority of them. And you were recently dating for a year a married woman, trying to convince the married woman to stop paying the bills in her house. So this would really impact her wife. How dare you? You tried to judge this woman for being a cheater when you are one. When you dated a married woman, you are the definition of what a home wrecker is. Think about it. People throw that term around, but she was a true home wrecker. She wanted to wreck the home by stopping of the paying of the bills. Think about what I'm saying right now. She's not just a typical cheater. She truly embodies the word home wrecker. Tried to wreck the home, tried to stop paying the bills in the house. That's your character. Your character was to blackmail your family member over your mommy. At 20 years old, call yourself a child. This is an excuse. And then she keeps saying, I had my undiagnosed BPD. Stop using BPD as an excuse. You have not gotten any treatment for it now either. Why are you not in continuous constant therapy? Why do you clearly lie to your therapist? For any therapist to tell you you're not a narcissist, you're lying to them. Says that her aunt saw her at a buffet with her mom and her mom's boyfriend's stepdaddy and her family and became jealous. Yes, that's what it is. She was sitting at a buffet. She looked over at you and she became jealous. I feel that everyone did. When they see you at a buffet, they become jealous. Or when they see you at bingo, they become jealous. Everyone, including the reaction channels, are jealous. She talked about in this video the kind of karma that's coming to Jordy for doing these videos. And she keeps saying, well, Jordy's going all the way to the bank. He needs to do anything to get to the bank. You have monetized this. You don't have to sponsor your aunt. You're choosing for hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're doing this publicly, everybody else can too. By the way, Amber, I really wouldn't worry about Jordy's karma when you've accused people of heinous things, then said, I used the wrong word. How many people have exposed you? I love saying this over and over again. This is my favorite thing to repeat. Casey, Beck, Destiny, Alexis, Valentine, and Tommy. By the way, one more point, and this is important. A lot of you are coming here and saying, how can you possibly report Amber? Because I can't repeat here what she said about Jordy and on that. And people are saying that they don't know how to report her here. I'm not allowed to tell you to report her. So again, please don't report her. But there are other, there's other ways of getting in touch with YouTube. That's all I will say, okay? Then on this platform. Like Amber, your content is 100% against the terms of service. I'm not telling anybody to report her. Don't report her, okay? But what you said about Jordy isn't just unhinged. Like, what is going on with you? Manipulation. This manipulation is just like sad. Like she has nothing. She has nothing left. Remember that story that I said was petty in my other video where Amber was leaving the state that her aunt was in and her bag was too expensive. It was, it was filled too much. It was too full and her cousin had to pay for it. And the aunt is like, well, give me the $60 back. And I was like, this is really petty. Don't make me agree with Amber. This is ridiculous. She doesn't have to pay you that $60. Amber says this never happened and goes on a filibuster about how that didn't happen, but she needed to buy a second plane ticket, a second plane seat, called her amazing foster mom, and then goes on another filibuster how amazing her foster mom was. This is pure manipulation. She gets told inside of the live stream by her audience, what are you talking about? Two different stories. She goes, no, that story never happened. That her foster mother was amazing. I'm not doubting that. What I am doubting is your ability to tell right from wrong. Honestly, I am. And I am doubting your ability to understand reality. Amber, you're talking about two different things. And why do you need to bring up how amazing your foster mom is? Do I think she was? Yeah. You've spoken highly of her, and I think she probably did the best that she could for you. But when you try to change the subject and try to get people's attention on another topic, this is rudimentary manipulation tactics from the fact that you never asked your mom to pay the $60 that you owed. Amber, still time to get into therapy. She also accuses her aunt of being a narcissist and says that she has, Amber says she has demonstrated her paying for her aunt, but her aunt just doesn't care at all. I love it when Amber demonstrates things for us. And then she says, like, my aunt is such a narcissist. She steals other people's joy. She makes other people's joy about her. I'm sorry, but two people are allowed to have joy on one day. Your mom can celebrate her soberversity on November 1st. The world can celebrate their birthdays on November 1st. And your aunt could get married on November 1st. I think the fact that Amber thinks that her aunt was not allowed to get married on a day that her mom got sober, and then we find out from the end that it's not actually, this is the best part, that wasn't actually the day that she got sober. That was like the seventh day or something like that she was sober, and she wanted to celebrate the seventh or third, or I told you from the beginning this was a math channel. So anyways, we have so much fun here, girls. Amber's demonstrating, her pain and crying, accusing other people of being a narcissist while saying that no one is allowed to get married on November 1st. It's a wonderful time to be alive. Most inappropriate things that she does is keeps outing her aunt. She keeps saying that her aunt has a girlfriend, your girlfriend this, your girlfriend that. The woman said she was a married woman. She never said anything about anything else. Amber outed her aunt just like she outed her own mother. That's what your character is, Pookie Reid. What does that say about your character? Okay. She continuously says that she gave her aunt $100. She's never done anything wrong. She blackmailed her aunt because of her undiagnosed BPD. I don't believe you. You blackmailed her because you wanted to. Stop using it as an excuse. Also, whenever anything gets said in the chat and she doesn't want to answer it, she says she doesn't understand what people are talking about. When she looks at the chat, she becomes confused. This is a manipulative lie. Anytime she doesn't want to answer any questions, she says that. Amber then says she's being stalked by who? A Kermit. The day that you're going to be stalked is the day my Kermits are going to, take over my channel, please. She also says that this is not, like, her mom is not interested in this privately or publicly, but her and her mom continue to talk about Aunt Tammy and what Aunt Tammy is doing because it involves them. I hate to break it to you. Hans Christian Pookie Reid, it means that your mommy, yes, you, mommy, and Blanky are all interested in it. Imagine saying, well, my mom is not interested in this. She has nothing to do with this, whatever. Look, but we talk about her all the time. Means you're interested. When are you getting a new Blanky, Pookie? By the way, this whole thing that she's being stalked, she stalked out Oh Lordy, It's Geordie's and Mr. Snowflake's entire lives, and she dares say that somebody is stalking her. No one cares enough about, like, if somebody were to say to me, do you want to know any private information about her? I'd be like, no, I don't, because I don't care enough about, like, whatever's going on with you. You care enough about reaction channels to get all their private info. You're the stalker. She then goes on, raging and ranting about her aunt, and she says that when she aged out of foster care, I'm assuming at 18, she went to live with her aunt, and her aunt would leave her alone. You were an 18-year-old adult. Stop. Stop. If you can vote, you're good to sit at home by yourself. Did you need a blankie then? She then said that she could not get a job when she was living with her aunt because she didn't have a car and she didn't have internet. And she's like, well, I didn't have internet. I didn't have anything. Do you know how many people grew up without internet and they had a really, like, emotionally fulfilling life? This is outrageous. She's like, well, I couldn't get a job. I didn't have a car. Why didn't you take public transportation? Why didn't you walk to the public transportation? You could have done that. I took public transportation to every job I ever had. Oh, well, I need a car to work. You didn't want to work because you didn't want to work. Just say that. The audacity. I have to say something. One of the people in my comments the other day said something. And they said, she keeps talking about, like, her life as if she's still in that stage, as if she's still an 18-year-old, still in foster care, still aging out. Like, Amber, you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. Yes, a year too, but a month. Grow up. Grow up. Like, you know what? I've said this before. I have to say it again. If any of my family members, this wouldn't happen, but if any of my family members came out on the internet, there's not enough cheese, Kermits, or money. There's not enough YouTube money that YouTube could send me once a month that would make me respond to my aunt exposing me. Like, at this point, I feel you've surpassed the talk show nonsense. You know how, like, on the talk shows, the families would expose each other. This is just so much more worse than that, because we know that this is real. Like, you never know, like, what happens, why people are coming on, but we know that you're being for real. You actually said that your aunt was supposed to not leave you alone in the house at 18 years old. Well, was she supposed to get you a blankie? She keeps blaming her aunt for kicking out her mom out of the house. How about we blame your grandma? Your grandma told you couldn't live there anymore. You're hiding something about your grandma and what happened between you two. I want to know why your grandma's telling, your family members that you're talking badly to your mom. I want to know why your grandma kicked you out. Notice how she glides past this, doesn't say anything about it. My favorite part of the stream was when she said, so the people that, like, believe me have rational minds, and the people that don't care about what I have to say don't have rational minds. Amber, the whole reason that you even make money is because of the negative interest in you. I do have a rational mind. I can see that certain things your aunt said, I wouldn't say them, but you did do wrong to your aunt. She keeps saying throughout this live stream, yet again, tell me what I did in the last 2 years. Tell me what I did in the last 5 years. You're giving yourself away, Hans Christian Pookie Reid. You're giving that time constraint on it because we know that you were trashing your aunt and doing devious things to her, like blackmailing her when she was in a bad relationship for years before that. She says that she doesn't remember her friends' birthdays, her friends' names. She says she can meet somebody and not remember their name. It's because you only care about yourself. When you meet someone, Amber says, I meet them, they tell me their name, I don't remember it right away. Yeah, because you were thinking about yourself the whole time and how you could make the conversation about yourself. This is like rudimentary stuff. It's obvious. If you are doing that, Amber, it's because you're focusing the conversation. This is what happens. I know exactly what's going on over there. She has a conversation with a new person she meets, then she's not listening to what they're saying. She's thinking about what she's going to say next. Think about what I just said. It says that the fact that her aunt doesn't talk to her daughter is a red flag. She says when you don't talk to your kids, it's a red flag. Let's talk about your red flags. You didn't talk to your mother for years. Does that mean that it's a red flag? How about this? Hans Christian Pookie Reid would never have a relationship with her mother if her ex-wifey didn't dump her. If your ex-wifey never dumped you, you wouldn't have needed a new chauffeur, and you would not have moved to Oklahoma to get one from your mommy. Is it time for a new blankie yet? My point here is this. You're saying it's a red flag that your aunt doesn't talk to her daughter. Why don't you tell us why your grandma kicked you out? Why don't you tell us why your grandma's saying things about you? But deeper than that. You didn't talk to your mom for years. Everything that you judge in others is yourself. She has enough audacity to say that, oh lordy, it's Jordy has a bad relationship with his mom. She starts wondering, do you have a bad relationship with your mom? Why don't you focus on your own relationships? Amber, how sad is it that if your ex-wifey never dumped you, you would have never moved to Oklahoma and had a relationship with your mother? You didn't want one. You weren't looking for one, Pookie Reid. Why weren't you looking for one while you were with wifey? She tells this story about Wasabi going to the groomers. She says, I took Wasabi to the groomers. You mean your mother took Wasabi to the groomers? And she says that, the cat was told that he's just the most, like, well-behaved cat, the most amazing cat, everything like that. There's a reason that she's telling you this story in the middle of having to defend herself from terrible accusations from her family member, her aunt. The reason is, I mean, honestly, like, I'm really, really disappointed in how rudimentary her manipulation is. She thinks if she tells you, you have to understand, it's not like somebody asked her, hi, did you take Wasabi to the groomer 5 seconds from when she's talking about how her aunt exposed her. Let's just think about this. She's bringing this up pretty much like out of nowhere because She thinks that it will reflect positively on her as a pet owner if he's well behaved. She thinks that just like when she tells you, hey, my cats are cuddling together, it's so sweet, it's so healing, she thinks it will divert your attention away from the problem. Amber, it's not going to divert our attention away from the problem. We know that you're the common denominator in each and every single situation. There's a bunch of people that said it's wrong for the aunt to speak out because she's a family member. If everyone is speaking out against you, that means that it's you. I don't care that she's her aunt. At the end of the day, for me, it's the bigger picture. At the end of the day, if everyone's speaking out against you, whether they're related to you or not, it's you. And you wanting us to divert our attention away from you being exposed to you being such a great cat mom is never going to happen. What about what happened with Rarity? What about what happened with Twinkie? He's shaking in pain and you went to Chili's. You didn't cut the dog's nails for years. You had to be pretty much forced into going to the vet. Amazingly, Twinkie is still okay. Imagine having 3 pets and having to be told by your audience that you need to take them to the vet. Not your mommy, not your auntie, not even your roommates or girlfriends. Your audience. She says that when she was in her 20s, she used to have undiagnosed BPD, and she would tell these little lies to prevent people from abandoning her, okay? If only I could believe that has anything to do with you telling your aunt that you're not allowed to bring a lunch from home to your job and handwriting a sign to manipulate, to deceive and scheme her into believing that because you didn't want to go on a health journey with her. This has nothing to do with abandonment. And by the way, if it is that you really did this in your early 20s when you weren't diagnosed with BPD, why did you tell this little also lie? Because you were afraid that your audience were going to abandon you now in your mid 30s, and you lied to us for a year and told us almost a year that you were single. You came on the internet, you said, I'm single, I'm single, I'm single. You were still in a relationship with Tommy. What about a few years ago when you also knew that you had BPD? You came and you said, wifey are 2 different people, and then you admitted it was one person. Malicious, dedicated effort to deceive. By the way, stop using BPD as an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's not a reason, especially since my personal opinion is you don't have BPD because you were never diagnosed. All right, that's about it for today's video. Thank you all so very much for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Check out this other video that's popping up here on a similar topic. Thank you so much for your time, and I will see you next time. Bye.